get to be any little thing that we want to be. No matter what comes our way, we'll be together, together.
Welcome to Homeschooling Down South. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Kat. We're two Southern homeschooling mamas sharing real talk, resources, and inspiration for life and learning in the Southeast.
Each week, we'll chat with inspiring voices in the homeschool community, highlight must-see nature spots and field trip gems, and share resources from across the region.
Whether you're new to homeschooling or a seasoned pro, pull up a chair and join us as we celebrate the joy, freedom, and community of homeschooling down south.
We'll laugh together, we'll learn together, find the joys in life together, give each other grace and space to be.
Hey y'all, it's Kayla and Kat from the future. We are just popping in to let you guys in on a little secret. This episode is really, really special to us because after we recorded this episode, we asked Sara Ernst if she would be willing to write us a theme song.
It's amazing because she was so excited, which
Yes.
we were relieved and surprised, and she was flattered and we were flattered. It just was like so much mutual respect for each other's
Yes.
work. And it was really cool because she did the interview with us, and then coming out of the interview, she got such a good sense of the podcast and us and our friendship, and was able to just turn around in just a couple days with this beautiful song. I was
Beautiful
so
song
moved when I
and
heard it.
it's so perfectly encompasses how we feel about our friendship, how we feel about the podcast, how we feel about you all, the listeners.
How we feel about
And
our kids
yes,
and
yes, we
the
couldn't have asked for
vibe
better.
the vibe of, like, sitting on the porch in our rocking chairs
Yes.
with this music playing. It just everything has been perfect about it as a fit for our podcast. And so we're just
Yeah.
super excited that she said yes. We're excited. You've probably heard it. It's been airing
Snippets of it.
It's been airing in our intro for a couple months. And we're just excited for you to hear the voice of that energy and all about her other work, her other music, her books. And she's such a wonderful person to have in your life as a mother, and she's been such a mentor to me as a mother. And so, like, we're just excited for you to hear this whole episode, and at the end we're going to share the song in its entirety together by Sara Ernst of Wild Pickle Press, and you can check out all of her music on Apple, Spotify, and on her website.
Welcome back, everybody. We are so glad you guys are back here with us, and we are even happier to have Sara Ernst with Wild Pickle Press here with us. Hello, Sara. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I am
Yes.
delighted.
Yes, I have
We're
gotten to
so
enjoy
happy you're here.
So happy. And I've gotten to enjoy some of your books through Kat and some of your music through Kat, but I would love for you guys to talk about how you guys met.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've actually only met once, which was truly a highlight for me. And I'm so glad that we actually did meet and see each other across a room. Because, I mean, and Kat, you could probably speak to this a little bit more. I mean, on my end, it's been so delightful because I have, multiple moms who have found my music or book somewhere along the way. And, every now and then I get a delightful message from someone telling me that something means something to them or led them in a certain direction, nature wise, or whatever it is. Cat happened to be one of those. And so we would have conversations, as many of us, we become IG friends, right? Like we
Yep.
become Instagram friends before. and you hope to meet one day. And so, yeah, she was finding her way, I believe, just into nature and I don't want to say overcoming fear. Sometimes that's hard to do. I mean, maybe making truce with the fears,
That's a really good way to put it.
bugs and things like that. But yeah, and I am just so honored that any of my music has meant something to her. And so, again, she can tell you her side of it. But I just know that when we met at the Wild and Free conference a couple of years ago, definite highlight. I mean, when we finally met and just in person and to have that face to face interaction finally with a mom who has gleaned something from any of my words is just very rewarding, not to mention just meeting another sweet soul. So,
Yeah, it was so special to meet you because becoming a mom in 2020, in
oh,
March 2020, just fear was a big part of my motherhood for the
mm,
beginning of it. And then I believe I can never remember which came first. If I heard you first on the 1,000 Hours Outside podcast, or if the algorithm had already connected me to your social media, but then I heard the episode and was like, oh, I need to look into this more and found your music. But then you offered a class through your Wild Pickle Press social media
yes.
about not passing our bug fears onto our kids. I grew up in nature, but I grew up in the redwood forest on the coast of Northern
Mm.
California. And I always say, over there, we had slugs, not bugs. Like, I would kiss a banana slug. I have pictures of me kissing a banana slug through all my life. But bugs and snakes in
Nice.
particular were just things I didn't encounter in my formative years. And now I live in
Sure.
Georgia, and there's a lot
Welcome to the
of those
South.
things.
Things you didn't even know
And
existed.
those correct. And I'm
True.
still learning. But that's what the class that you held was about was instead of being afraid, learning, identifying, and then that helps to empower you. Then when I see this bug, scary as it might look,
True.
maybe it has some benefit, or here's some ways to deal with it that are more just honoring that it is a life too, but especially not
Yes.
passing on that fear to my kid.
Yes.
And so that was our first like live encounter. And then I just from that experience dug in more to the books and the music. And there's songs that just feel like they feel like the soundtrack to our lives.
Oh.
So whenever we bake together, we put on Make and Bake. And my son is truly my nature buddy, and Nature Buddies is just one of my
Yes.
favorite songs. And
Yes.
Sarah was so sweet when we met at the conference. She played it for me live, and I tried to hold back the tears because
Oh.
it was so special that you knew that it was an important song to me and my motherhood, and that you were willing to take that time to sing it for me. And you're just such a wonderful soul. And so,
Oh.
yeah. But but
Thank
the
you.
but the bug class is where it all began, really. And so tell us about how did you get into telling people about these kinds of nature experiences that are maybe the ones that some people would say ick, because you also have a song about snakes.
I do. I do all the things. First of all, I grew up rurally and my brother and we were always in the woods and we were just always around those things and they just never really bothered me that much. And so I've always had a love of kind of bugs and critters and all those things anyway. I mean, I handled snakes when I was a kid. It just didn't really bother me. I caught crawdads, all the things. And so anyway, fast forward to adulthood. And what I was realizing more and more in parents, but moms especially, not that dads can be immune or anything to, not liking certain bugs or anything, but I found that there was I call it nature reluctancy in a lot of moms. They wanted their kids to be outside. And I get that. Like you want your children to have nature, but sometimes especially if you're not an outdoor enthusiast or that just isn't
Kayla's raising her hand.
Kayla, you feel
That's
this right
me.
now? Then, it is very difficult because you're trying to find some sort of happy medium between your comfort zone, which sometimes is incredibly narrow for a lot of moms when it comes to the great outdoors, and your child's either need to be in nature or love of nature. And you might have kids that are all out and wanting to be in the mud and with the bugs and up the trees and all the things that you just don't do. And they feel foreign to you in a lot of ways. Or you know that by not having your child in nature, that you're worried they're going to become a couch potato. It's you want them in there, but it's like, how do I do this? And so there's a nature reluctancy there. And so I tell people this a lot. It's like the whole idea of mini adventures and mini excursions when people say, there are a lot of adventure moms out there. I wish I were an adventure. I just don't have enough time to be the adventure mom. But the mini adventures I love. That's more my speed because of my schedule and different things. But it's the same idea. It's like, look, you don't have to go on a 5-day camping trip in the middle of nowhere and pioneer it to have an adventure or to say that you camped or to do anything like that. That just simply isn't true. Those things are amazing. Do them if you can, absolutely. But it doesn't have to be that. And it's the same thing with just stepping out in nature and realizing that there's a whole world around you that's full of wonder and, curious things. And it's just stepping out of your door. And even if, especially depending on where someone lives, it might just be your yard, and all that's close by is maybe a park. I am very blessed to have field and forest and farm and all of that around me. And I try never to take that for granted. But I know that isn't the case for everyone. And so just stepping out of your door is one of the biggest things you can do with your kids. It doesn't have to be crazy and grand, but, in that nature reluctancy, those are the first steps. But yes, bugs. I mean, it's their home, right? I mean, they're going to be there and you can't do anything about that. So you have to find a way to make peace with the inhabitants, the tiny inhabitants of this world. Because you have your house and your home, they have their houses and their home, and it is outside of your door where you need to go and take your children. So that's why I say you try to find a nature, it's a truce, right? It's a truce because overcoming a fear is sometimes not completely feasible. And because there are real fears out there and phobias and anaphylactic reactions, to certain things. So those things are there, but it's finding a way, it's learning to love bugs and learning to love nature in a way that works for you while still forming. It's a perfect playground, nature, to form a bond with your children. And I can guarantee that if you go out in nature with your kid, you will never hear your child say later on, I can't believe you took me outside. I mean, you're not going to hear, I can't
Yeah.
believe we went out in nature. Like, I can't believe you took me to the woods. Why would you do that? Like, those were my least favorite memories. Like, you're never going to hear those things. Those are the things they're going to remember. And so, yeah, learn to love bugs. Lots of making peace when you're nature reluctant. I just wasn't nature reluctant. And so when I started hosting a nature group back in 2017, I think it was. Yeah, 2017. There were nature reluctant moms in it, but they had the willingness. And that's what I saw. It was the heart. That's why they were there. They wanted to be out there with their kids, but there were some reluctancies and some things where I just saw, okay, how can we help each other in this? You don't have to never fear these things, but how can we come to peace with them so that everyone's happier, right?
Yes. So,
But I don't know. That was a really long way around saying, half of those things, but it all starts with the nature reluctancy or the fear. And then again, trying to have a truce, make peace with the things that accept the things that you cannot change, and that's bugs,
yep.
inclement weather, all the things. So, yeah, you've got to make peace, or you're not going to be happy in any of it.
So Kat shared with me that you were actually homeschooled growing up. Do you feel like your love
I
of
was.
nature came from, were your parents very focused on that in their homeschool?
Actually, no. Believe it or not.
Okay.
Believe it or not. Yeah, no, I mean, we went outside, we did things. I know, let's get counterculture with homeschool all of a sudden. Like, no, so my dad, I'm like, my parents weren't nature people. No, so my parents love nature. It isn't that. But back when I was homeschooled, it was counterculture. That's when it was straight up weird. And people who were homeschooled in the early 80s, if you're you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. We were in that era where my parents were in that phase of truly pioneering where no one remembered that even a founding father had been homeschooled. It was like, what is this concept? Like a child at home, their parents dare to know them? Like, what is this? It's so strange. But so we were homeschooled for 7 years. My mom was actually an English teacher prior to ever having kids. She was already a teacher, actually.
Okay.
And so we homeschooled for 7 years. But my dad had to work all the time. I mean, so that my mom could homeschool us. We did not grow up on a ton, but we had a lot of richness in heart, in love, in education, in books, in nature, all those things. But we weren't rich in finances. And so my father, he had to work quite a bit. So we weren't out with him, but so much. My mom, she would go out with us, of course, but I had an older brother and we were the nature buddies. There was almost not a huge need for my mom. You know how it is when you let kids out in nature, they don't need guidance,
Yeah.
especially when there's a sibling, a friend. You don't need to say, okay, here's what I think you guys should play now or do. The kids just start doing stuff. And that's exactly what we did. We were always pretending, we were always doing those things. And my mom was doing lesson plans and other stuff and also working a little bit on the side. So I say that because there wasn't a love of it or they loved that we were out in there, but we didn't do it all together often, I guess I should say, for those reasons. But my childhood was still incredibly nature rich. And we built lean tos and forts and just everything you could think of, we were doing outside and got so much from it. But yeah, we were homeschooled for 7 years and they were seven of the best school years of my life. I absolutely adored it. My mom was wonderful. I enjoyed the experience so much, and I desperately needed it at the time because I was actually a insanely shy child. Very shy. My brother was very social and I was not. And that was just my personality when I was young. It had nothing to do because I was in regular school for kindergarten and first grade and I did just fine. Scholastically, socially, I just really couldn't handle it. I was just a very, very shy kid. I mean, I obviously got past those things, but I'm like, I never would have, if someone had told me when I was a child that somehow my career paths would be as about as social as they get.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, maybe I would have found a hole to crawl into at the time, never come out, but it is very interesting. But when I say desperately shy, I mean desperately. I mean, I was sick to my stomach almost every day in regular school. I just
Wow.
couldn't handle it almost. So, my mom homeschooling us, it actually gave me where a lot of people would look at a child like that and be like, she really needs to be around kids though, because she clearly isn't adapt socially or whatever. No, that was not my issue. I was around people all the time, kids, this and that. I was just truly very shy and I just didn't know how to find balance in that when I was a kid. But my mom homeschooling us gave me the ability to truly thrive, not just educationally, because we were always a couple of grades above ourselves. It was like I did just fine that way, but I finally didn't have that social restriction, which for me it actually was when I was a kid. And for me, it is interesting because I hear that so often from people, well, they need other people. They need this, they need that. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes they don't actually. Sometimes that child actually needs to hunker down and have space to their own. And it isn't going to get better with more people. It's actually making it worse. And that was the case for me. Fast forward later, I mean, here I am. And, I'll be in front of however many people and hundreds and thousands. And I also do photography. So I'm always leading groups and this and that. It's crazy that I ever came out of my shell, but I did. But my mom gave me that space. Nobody ever came down on me. My parents never told me I had to be more social or I had to talk to and do those things. They let me be me and they always let me be me. And it was the best thing that they could have done because I never felt pressure about that. And I think that's really important, and I don't know if it sounds like I'm going off on a tangent, I'm not trying to, but it is interesting with homeschooling because I feel like that whole social concept, it's the cloud that's always hanging over, isn't it? It's like,
Always.
how will they ever adapt us socially? I mean, they talk to people, you know? My parents did missions work when I was a kid. My dad worked at a guest house where there were constantly people in from overseas in different countries. And as such, we always had our home open to them as well. So I actually grew up in a home where we had people in from Burma staying with us, and Pakistan, and Nepal, and India, and Turkey, and Africa, and all these places. And we were not only subjected to multiple cultures, those people would show us their ways of cooking. They talked to us, not like children, but they just talked. I mean, and I have distinct memories of, people being shocked that my brother and I could carry on a conversation, when they found out we were homeschooled, like, "Wow, they speak." It's a miracle. And it just being so strange to us, like, I mean, yeah,
I'm so
they
glad you
talk.
shared that because there's someone's listening right now who has a child who is shy and who is being pressured probably to, you got to push them out there. You got to get them interacting with other people. That's how to take care of this. And
Right.
listen, like you are one of the most cheerful, like inviting. And like you
Oh,
said, you're standing on a stage singing, you're sharing your words, your art, your creativity. Like there's nothing that anyone who has met you today would say is shy. And so like, just for that mom who's listening, who's like, "I have a shy child," like, it's okay, take care of that shy heart.
yes.
Look what can become
Yes.
of that.
Exactly. Take care of that shy heart. I love that cat, and I feel like that's exactly what my parents did. They nurtured me for who I was, and I mean, I was a complete ham around those that I loved, but not, not socially. I just didn't it just wasn't me. But yes, yeah, because there is a special little person in there somewhere who just hasn't figured out. It's like a baby or toddler who isn't ready to talk yet. Sometimes it's not that they don't know the words. And it's like that with a lot of kids who are already kind of perfectionists, overachievers by nature, highly intelligent. It's because they hear the words and they know they're not coming out right.
Mm,
And
mhm.
that happens. And so it isn't that they can't communicate, but they find other ways of doing it, or a lot of frustration comes with it because it simply isn't happening the way that they hope it will. And I think for a shy child, you know how to be around, you can be around people, but you just haven't found your way yet. You haven't found a way to use your voice in a way that feels comfortable to you around everybody. But they will. There's a reason, just like there's a reason for all the outgoing kids, you know? A lot of them end up being leaders and strong-willed children where people are like, "Oh, they're so strong-willed. I don't know what they're gonna be when they grow up." They'll probably be leaders. A lot of those things, they're signs of other things. Leadership, a courageous heart, a sensitive heart, whatever it is, they are signs of something. If you just give it time, they'll find their way. They usually do. Somewhere after adolescence, usually.
Yes.
Let them get through middle school, and then they'll start nurture as much as you can through middle school, and they were rough years, Give them the formative years of play and imagination as long as you possibly can in nature, and then in adolescence and those tweens and the early teens, still nurture them, but in a way that they feel independent and heard and seen, and they know that you're still there and that you are on their side and that you are still their biggest fan. And I tell you what, you give those kids room to grow and they're all just going to be wildflowers, th- they're going to bloom where they're meant to if you give them the space, you know? Just kind of help them pull the weeds away. They'll find it.
I love that.
Well, and I would definitely say that you have found your voice and you have bloomed because, oh my goodness, just listening to your music and all of your stuff, I would never ever have guessed. I mean, you just have this beautiful voice and I just
Oh.
after hearing that story, I would love to know, like, at what point I mean, because 'cause you're very in the spotlight. So at what point did you say, "Hey, I have this gift and I'm gonna do this thing"?
I didn't. I don't know if there was a point. I still don't know if there's been a point where I've said that, to be totally honest. The music, I am such an accidental musician, and that is so true. Like, I never sought that. I never sought that, which probably sounds so strange because, like, okay, well, you have albums. Like, at some point you sought it. I did not seek it. It came through that group that I was hosting. That's how it started. I've told this story before. So for those who are hearing it, another podcast, I'm sorry, but it's my story. It's like it's how it happened. But and I'll keep it short, but it basically came from that. And it was only because the kids were all around like 3 to 7, and we were in the woods. And I thought, golly, I need to help these kids figure out we have black bear around here. I mean, we could come across a bear for goodness sakes. And I can't be the only one not panicking in this group because I can only I can only bring in so many people into the fold, and children too and moms. And I thought I just need a way that helps it stick. Like what could they do as children and this and everybody remember it. And at the time, I just happened to be teaching myself to play the ukulele. That was a completely separate thing. I picked up the ukulele not to ever do anything with it publicly. Never
Surprise.
to do anything with it publicly. That was not yeah, right? That was not even a thought. Not even a thought. I genuinely just thought it was such a cute little instrument. I had always thought it was so adorable, and I just wanted to try playing it. And so I had ordered myself a ukulele, a little ukulele, and just thought, this is just so adorable. It needs to be learned. And I was just doing that for the fun of it. And I thought, well, could I write a song? I don't know. Could I write a song about bears and like what to do if we see one? I'm not sure. And I did. And I shared it with the group. I mean, reluctantly. So let me tell you guys, I mean, even though, I mean, yes, I was a shy child, I'm not an extrovert. I mean, it'd probably shock people to know that I'm actually not an extrovert by nature. I mean, I'm an extrovert by my career paths, but deep down, I am for sure the cricket on the hearth. I am a homebody. I don't mind being home. I don't mind time to myself, all those things, but I also love people or I wouldn't work with them. So I'm strange. I'm like in between where I love people and that energy and everything, but I am completely fine just, hunkering and pulling in to my snail shell. But I did not sing in front of people. This was not my thing. You must understand this. I mean, no, outside of just my family with little things or something, I just did not sing for people. I never have. I never did. And my husband's the musician in our family. And I thought, "Oh my golly, I just don't even know. Is this like it? Do I sound silly? Is this silly?" And so I thought, "No, this is for the children. I must teach them. We cannot be attacked by a bear and not know what to do." That was my drive. And so I wrote the bear song, and I sang it for them. And then everyone, including the moms, were like, "This is so catchy, and we've been singing it at home and all this stuff." And it just caught on. And I thought, okay, next thing, venomous snakes, because we have three here in Virginia. I'm
Naturally.
like, we need to know. The kids need to know what these look like. We need to identify them. And that happened and so on. That's where it started. And even then, it was only for the group. No one outside of the group knew that I had written songs or my family. And no one certainly knew that I even owned a ukulele. So, I mean, it was just not a thing. So this went on for quite a while. And what I fell in love with, you guys, is this. I fell in love with teaching the kids in finding a completely new way to teach them about nature. That's what I fell in love with. And I fell in love with writing, which I've always loved doing. I've always loved poetry and rhyme and telling stories and art. Those things have been a part of my life since I was a very small child. And so I think it was my little creative fire had been lit in writing, but then that passion for nature and working with kids, it's like it just blended all of a sudden. And I can write to teach and share, and it's fun and we all enjoy it. And it just kind of came together. It was the moms. It was the moms in the group. They were the ones that told me to share it with other people. And it was a hard pass for me. I just said, I was like, "No, I mean, this is not, I mean, thank you, but no, that is not where I'm trying to go with this, and that is not me." And they, after more songs, they said, I really think that other kids should hear this, that other moms would like it." And in all honesty, I just couldn't see it, because I don't see myself that way, to be honest. I don't see myself that way. I don't see my work that way. It's difficult to see things that way. You're just, especially when you're just kind of writing from your heart, you're writing for yourself or for certain kids or whatever, you see it for that, for the purpose that it's in, not for some larger scale of anything. But, I'm so glad I did end up listening to them. I thought, well, I have enough songs, for goodness sakes. I'll try putting a few things together, and that's when I put out the first album in 2019, and here we are. So, I mean, here we are, and, 5 albums, however many singles later, and so many wonderful, wonderful, rewarding, lovely things have come from all of it, and I never meant to make that happen, and I'm forever grateful for that group. I'm forever grateful to the moms who just said, "Yes, do something with it. It's worth hearing." And, yeah, it's been a beautiful thing, but I'm not, yeah, no, I'm still the introvert deep down inside, wondering sometimes why I'm up on a stage in front of however many people. But I think the Lord has just really changed my heart and all that. And I think that's been a lot of his grace with me throughout my life, is helping me find ways around those little shy things still within me that just say, you never know until you try. And that's what it is. That's still my point of view. You don't know until you try. And if something doesn't work out, guess what? It's not eternal,
Amen.
and it's okay. And so if you have fun, you have a passion, you have a fire for something, I have learned to just embrace it for what it is, challenge myself in certain ways, but just stay true to myself and what I love and my values and what's behind it for me. I'm not out to gain followers. I'd rather have people like Kat, and I'd rather have someone listen and something just be very valuable to them or resonate with them in a very positive or beautiful way, or a child learns something from it. I would rather that 1,000 times over than ever have however many followers or however many this. That means nothing. I can't take those things with me when I die. That means nothing to me. It matters to me, though, that I think we're on this earth to, for a lot of reasons, but I think we're on this earth also to just leave as many positive trails as we can. Sometimes that's just one person, sometimes it's many. Sometimes it's through our children, and that's the ministry, is through your child's heart, and that is a ministry.
Mm.
And sometimes it's through a group. Sometimes it's with other moms, sometimes it's through a church, sometimes it's somebody you don't know at a grocery store that looks like they're hurting and you're just giving them a smile. And for me, sometimes it's just singing about the things I love in creation and sharing them in whimsical ways that put a smile on my face and I hope brings a smile to other people's faces.
They
So,
do. They truly do. Absolutely. And it's not just your beautiful words in song, but you also have written beautiful books. I love taking Where is Wild outside with groups of kids and reading
aw,
that with
I
them.
love that.
We love dragons, love tea in our house. It's one of our favorites. You have Shout No, which I think is a powerful book, especially in these
Yeah.
times of raising kids. And I'm just kind of talking about them a little bit, how they relate to our family, and I'll let you, Sarah, talk about them too. But I have to end on Poetry for the Wild and Curious Ones,
Hmm,
because you were so thoughtful in extending to families to have
hmm,
kids submit poetry. And so it's not just this beautiful poetry book
mm,
that you've written that is so helpful if you're teaching poetry, because you actually have explanations of each kind of poem and your examples, but then it's also this collection of kids' poetry.
I
And
know.
my son is published
I
in this
know.
beautiful book. And it's so cool he's so young, but to be able to say he's already published. He already
It's
wrote words
true.
that someone thought were beautiful and published for him is such a special thing, Sarah. Tell us a little bit about the books and what inspires you to write those and talk about your favorites if you want to. I know you probably
Yeah.
love them all.
Yeah, well, no, I do, but for different reasons. I mean, again, even with the books, I mean, I've said it before, probably 100 times before, but I've never been out to build an empire. I mean, it's why I'm not with try to do a publishing house or with publishers because the things that I do, they're just simple. They're just simple. Even my music, I'm not a band. I don't have any gimmicks. It's just me, my ukulele. I know there is a lot of music out there and I get it. It's so much more attractive to listen to because it's like, man, there is a beat and it's like all this stuff. I just don't have that. I don't have the band. I don't have those things, but I've learned to embrace that too because I'm just kind of I like to think of my songs as more of a on the front porch kind of a thing. I mean, that's more me. And I'm not very fancy, I'm afraid, but I when I was a kid, like I said, art was a huge outlet for me. I mean, truly, it was my thing. I have always loved to draw, always loved to tell stories, always loved poetry, all those things. And Dragons Really Do Love Tea, that was my first one, 2017. And that was really more of just a bucket list kind of a thing. I couldn't fall asleep one night. It was about 1 a.m. And all of a sudden, that's when a lot of my things come to me. And all of a sudden, it's just like, there once was a mountain with a deep, dark cave. There once was a girl who was extremely brave. And it's like all these things start coming. I'm like, what is happening? Oh no, it's happening. And so I just had, and my husband was asleep. I just had to grab my phone, dim it, and just start writing down the words because I thought, I will forget this in the morning. This is all coming to me. I've learned to do that. Do it in the moment or do a voice memo, say it, whatever it is to remember it. And, I mean, so it probably took me all of I don't know how long, 20 minutes, something, and it just I wrote it all, fell asleep, and the next day, I read it to myself and thought, actually, I do really love this. Well, if I ever do a book, maybe I'll do something from this. And that's where it stemmed. And I thought, no, I'd always wanted to have a book. And in this day and age, we have that possibility. You can self publish, that wasn't a thing back when. And now it is. And it's a wonderful opportunity for people like myself who just want to share something, just want to do that. And the same thing with Dragons Really Do Love Tea was kind of with the music. I wasn't trying to be an author or anything. In fact, I did it through Amazon thinking it'll just be on there so any of my friends who want to get they can do something with it. It was my local bookstore. They had seen it and they were the ones that said we could sell this. And I mean, truly, if maybe there's a hidden camera footage somewhere from that. I mean, I was probably like, What? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You can sell it? You can, what? And that's how that even started. So I wasn't looking to sell it. Look, I wasn't looking to do anything with it. It just sort of happened. So that was Dragons Really Do Love Tea, and even that dragon, it was a dragon that I had drawn for my mom when I was younger, and I was actually gonna seek out a different illustrator. I wasn't going to draw it
Oh,
because
really?
my idea for that book was so much more grand illustration-wise, and look, I know my strengths, but I know my weaknesses, and I am a very whimsical illustrate that is it's I draw now pretty much like I did when I was a kid. I mean, it's just very simple, it's very whimsical, but that's what makes me happy. I know that my strength is not in realism or anything else, and that's okay. But I had some other vision for it. I thought, "Oh," and I could just imagine it in my head, and it was my mom that said, "Oh, no, you're the dragon that you drew me." I'm like, "Oh, what?" Like,
She's beautiful.
but I'm like, "Wait, that dragon?" Like, you don't understand. I'm like, I mean, I gave that dragon Donald Duck eyes. I mean, it was just like, this is seriously, Donald Duck's eyes were my inspiration for that dragon back when. And so I'm like, I don't know, this is not what I had in mind. She's like, oh, please, you should. The dragon's so wonderful and stuff. So I just decided, I'm like, you know what? Why not? This book is about me just fulfilling a childhood dream anyway. The dragon was something I drew when I was younger. It meant something to my mom. Just having a book meant something to me. That's why I did. I'm like, well, I'll just have fun with it. I'm just going to draw this for me. And so that's why the illustrations are the way they are, the little dragon, it's just so simple, but I love when people love the dragon book because it is a fun little book, but it's funny when I think back illustration-wise because it's it wasn't what I initially had planned for it if
Mm,
I ever did anything with it, but it's okay
it
because
is.
once again, it was just fun, and I find more delight in that than I do in what could have been.
Yeah.
And then the other books to follow, they were all just like that. They were just things that came to me and I wanted to do something with it and have fun doing the art and putting it together. And then of course when Shout No, that one definitely. That one is my most crucial message. And I had already had the song for that. I did that when I was doing the nature group. Again, I did it for the kids. I thought this isn't nature, but this group of kids I can teach about this too and help them understand that they have a voice and that no one, I don't care who it is, and grown-ups alike, no one has the right to touch you in a way that you shouldn't be touched, that makes you feel uncomfortable, to ask you to do something you know is not right to do, any of the things.
It's
It's
so
not okay.
powerful. It's such
It
a
is
powerful
not
book and
okay.
song. The part that I'm so thankful you touched on is as pictures of kids because that's so prevalent these days, and I'm so thankful that that's a part of that book and that song because I have a kid who's a ham, and someone wants to take his picture and he's ready. And just to
Yeah.
be able to like talk through not just the book, but to sing the song. And he loves to sing along with it. It's so helpful as a parent to have a tool. And we didn't talk about this when we were talking about the songs, but that you talk a lot about songs being sticky about
Mhm. Oh,
it's just,
yeah, absolutely.
and so make sure
Music
that
is sticky.
and what do you
Mhm.
say
Words
so
are
making sure
sticky.
that what sticks
Yeah, is good.
is
It
good.
Yeah, I mean, we have this opportunity because there's so much that's sticky around us and our kids that is not good. And I mean, they're just blasted with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
unless you truly keep them from it. And the thing is that even once they get to a certain age and they get out in the world on their own, they're still going to be blasted with it. But it's our job I mean, we're basically raising our children to live without us, right?
Right. Right.
So essentially. And so you build this foundation, you give them the tools, you give them the resources, you empower them as much as you're able to. You nurture, you do all the things, but eventually they are going to be on their own and they're still going to get blasted with
Yes.
things that you don't want them to be blasted with, but it is there, because
Yes.
it's just a part of the world. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, look, danger, and I say this too, I'm like, danger does not discriminate. People need to understand that is very, very important. Danger does not discriminate. Danger does not care if you live in the suburbs. Danger does not care if you live in a mansion, if you're out in the woods, if you're a private school or a public school or an unschooler or a homeschooler. Danger does not discriminate. And just like any education, and I've said this in other podcasts, but it's truly an education of its own. There is a reason that you don't teach math one time ever to your kids, and you're like, "Okay, well, here's addition. 1 plus 1 is 2. Alright, you're good."
You're
Like,
done.
you're good for the world. Yeah, you got it. Like, you'll be great in the workplace. There is a reason that you must continue, or even if you're not building on it, which, I mean, you should be in most things, there is a reason you have to continue. It's consistency. Like, you also don't just tell your child one time ever in their young life, this one thing can hurt you. And then you never say anything about anything ever again. Like, there's a consistency to stuff. And there has to be a consistency with that topic. And that's why I say tricky people. And I mean, from the book and the song, but that's why I say tricky people. I call them because that's what they are. Anybody can be tricky.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, strangers, but golly, I mean, before your best friend was your best friend, they were a stranger, think about it. And strangers might just be the one to save your life one day. That's the other thing. So when we don't talk to strangers, don't talk to strangers. And yes, there is that. There is wisdom and caution about strangers and understanding that, but kids, I think, understand what tricky can look like. Anybody can be tricky. A family member can sadly be tricky. Friends you think you should trust can sadly be tricky. I think the CDC, it's like 92% of children who have been abused knew their abuser. 92%. I mean, that is nauseating, it's heartbreaking, it's staggering. It is not always a stranger, and sometimes it is. Now, I don't cover obviously, I don't go into all that into the
Yeah.
song in the book, but that was the whole point. I was trying to like, how can I get the point across about tricky and what you can do, how you can respond in a very gentle, non-frightening, non-graphic, effective way? And that's how Shout No was born. And then, of course, in the book, there are jumping off points because you know your kids best. You can determine when they're ready for the next step in talking about things with that. But I mean, it's so important. I truly believe that educated toddlers and children in that area become empowered teens and adults. But it has to start with education. You don't become empowered just by nothing. You have to have education behind it and consistency, and then you feel empowered to do something. Just in the same way that your child might feel empowered in nature. It's like, yeah, my parents have given me free reign of nature. I feel empowered. I can climb a tree, this and that. It's because they have been empowered to do so. They have been given the freedom to do that and use their arms and legs in all the ways. We must also educate them and empower them in using their voice, which is one of the hardest things for someone to do, especially if it's someone they know and they think they should trust, because no one wants to feel guilty and no one wants to get anybody in trouble. And that is where tricky can come in. And so it's a difficult topic, but that's why I tried to do that where it's gentle enough that it's just start the conversation. Just start the conversation or just listen to the song. It's not going to scare anybody. Just start somewhere. Um, yeah, you never know. I mean, what if that one song, what if that one book saved a child from a potentially dangerous situation? Then it's all worth it. And that's exactly
Absolutely.
why I wrote it. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen with this song or book, maybe nothing. But if it helps one kid ever in the whole world out of a dangerous situation, then gosh, it hands down worth it. I do it 100 times over again.
And I love how this just brought our conversation so full circle because we started by talking about how the music and the lessons empower us to go out into nature and learn so that we aren't afraid. And then, but you also create things that help the kids learn so they don't have to be afraid, but they are empowered and they know what to do. It really is the same thing. Your lessons are just giving, whether it's the moms or the kids, those skills to be able to know what to do,
Right.
not be afraid, and act. And I'm sure it's clear to the listeners how much your work has blessed my motherhood. It's a foundation of my motherhood. Your books, your songs are a foundation of my motherhood. And I'm
Well,
just so grateful for you and
thank you.
grateful for what you've created. We love to wrap up our conversations by talking about the wins. Do you have a win from all of these moms and kids you've created
Man,
for? Do you have a win you can share with us?
you're my win, cat. You are my win. I'm not kidding. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on this podcast with you right now. I mean that sincerely. When I think of people that have said things to me or whatever, you are a standout for me and someone, and I mean that where it's just like, okay, this is why I've even shared it. It isn't because I think I'm the best singer, for goodness sakes, or that I'm the best ukulele player or anything else. I share the things because I love them because they meant something to me. I've written everything for a reason. Nature buddies even, it's very dear to my own heart. And for another mom to say, this resonates with me and this is in my heart, and my child is my nature buddy because of it too. And I have learned to work with bugs, and do what you need to. That's a win. That's the win. I mean, it doesn't get much more win than that kind of thing for me. So I am just going to choose door one. You, cat, you are my win.
Well, thank you. And I'm sure there are other moms who've listened and who listen with their kids and read with their kids. But I mean, it really is. If you had told me 6 years ago that I would have dead bugs displayed in a glass enclosure in my house, I would not have believed it. But here I am, Sarah. So I have been transformed. So Sarah, tell the people where they can find all of your wonderful work.
Oh, yeah, I'd love for you all to check out everything. There are so many songs, from the bear song to the stick song. There's I'm a Bug, and there are things also like Nature Buddies, and then even my song Wildflower. For those of you who have a child, I mean, you can listen when they're babies or toddlers because when you're in the throes, they're getting older, and there's something about it that you just kind of lament. But Wildflower, the song Wildflower, I do encourage everyone to listen to that. It's just a sweet song that really just came from my heart because it's about watching your child grow. And they are wildflowers. You cannot plant a child in one place only and expect them to completely thrive. They're going to find their own way in some way, shape, or form, but with your guidance, with your love, with your support. And Wildflower is about that, and it's kind of for mamas of just growing kids. And you could go to wildpicklepress.com, and that's my website. You could find, oh goodness, all kinds of stuff, including some audio books that I have that aren't on like streaming platforms, but they're called Wild Tales.
They're so good.
And you can listen to those on there, and I am hoping to get them on streaming platforms at some point, so we'll see. But right now they're on wildpicklepress.com, and you just search Sara Ernst on any streaming platform, Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, whatever you listen to. And I hope you find something you love because there's songs about farm, field, forest, winter, bedtime. And I think you'll find that aside from feelings, there's a resounding theme of nature.
Yes.
But yeah, gosh, I'd love for everybody to listen and just like Kat, if you get something positive out of it, then that's truly rewarding to me. And I hope that anyone who listens does. That'd be lovely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sarah. And Kayla has had some technical difficulties, so she actually is not here with us anymore. You can find her at Scratch Made Simple. You can find me at Recreating Camp. And of course, we're at Homeschooling Down South on all the socials. You can email us at hello@homeschoolingdownsouth.com. And if you liked today's episode, we would love it if you would send it to a friend and rate and review us wherever you're listening. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Absolutely.
We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Today is the day we get to be any little thing that we want to be. No matter what comes our way, we'll be together, together. And we'll love together, we'll learn together, find the joys in life together, give each other grace and space to be. And we'll love together, we'll learn together, explore this whole wide world together, no matter where we are.